Lesson 62. After the fire. First listen, and then answer the question. What was the danger to the villages after the fire? Firemen had been fighting the forest fire for nearly 3 weeks before they could get it under control. A short time before, great trees had covered the countryside for miles around. Now, smoke still rose up from the warm ground over the desolate hills. Winter was coming on, and the hills threatened the surrounding villages with destruction. For heavy rain would not only wash away the soil, but would cause serious floods as well. When the fire had at last been put out, the forest authorities ordered several tons of a special type of grass seed which would grow quickly. The seed was sprayed over the ground in huge quantities by airplanes. The planes had been planting seed for nearly a month when it began to rain. By then, however, in many places the grass had already taken root. In place of the great trees which had been growing there for centuries, patches of green had begun to appear in the blackened soil. Lesson 63. She was not amused. First listen, and then answer the question. Why did Jenny want to leave the wedding reception? Jeremy Hampton has a large circle of friends and is very popular at parties. Everybody admires him for his great sense of humor. Everybody, that is, except his 6-year-old daughter, Jenny. Recently, one of Jeremy's closest friends asked him to make a speech at a wedding reception. This is the sort of thing that Jeremy loves. He prepared the speech carefully and went to the wedding with Jenny. He had included a large number of funny stories in the speech and, of course, it was a great success. As soon as he had finished, Jenny told him she wanted to go home. Jeremy was a little disappointed by this, but he did as his daughter asked. On the way home, he asked Jenny if she had enjoyed the speech. To his surprise, she said she hadn't. Jeremy asked her why this was so, and she told him that she did not like to see so many people laughing at him. Lesson 64. The Channel Tunnel. First listen and then answer the question. Why was the first tunnel not completed? In 1858, a French engineer, Aimé Thomas de Gamond, arrived in England with a plan for a 21-mile tunnel under the English Channel. He said that it would be possible to build a platform in the center of the channel. This platform would serve as a port and a railway station. The tunnel would be well ventilated if tall chimneys were built above sea level. In 1860, a better plan was put forward by an Englishman, William Lowe. He suggested that a double railway tunnel should be built. This would solve the problem of ventilation, for if a train entered this tunnel, it would draw in fresh air behind it. 42 years later, a tunnel was actually begun. If, at the time, the British had not feared invasion, it would have been completed. The world had to wait almost another 100 years for the Channel Tunnel. It was officially opened on March 7, 1994, finally connecting Britain to the European continent. Lesson 65. Jumbo versus the police. First listen and then answer the question. Why did the police have to push Jumbo off the main street? Last Christmas, the circus owner, Jimmy Gates, decided to take some presents to a children's hospital. Dressed up as Father Christmas and accompanied by a guard of honor of 6 pretty girls, he set off down the main street of the city riding a baby elephant called Jumbo. He should have known that the police would never allow this sort of thing. A policeman approached Jimmy and told him he ought to have gone along a side street as Jumbo was holding up the traffic. Though Jimmy agreed to go at once, Jumbo refused to move. 15 policemen had to push very hard to get him off the main street. The police had a difficult time, but they were most amused. "Jumbo must weigh a few tons," said a policeman afterwards, "so it was fortunate that we didn't have to carry him. Of course, we should arrest him, but as he has a good record, we shall let him off this time." Lesson 66. Sweet as honey. First listen and then answer the question. What was sweet as honey and why? In 1963, a Lancaster bomber crashed on Wallis Island, a remote place in the South Pacific, a long way west of Samoa. The plane wasn't too badly damaged, but over the years, the crash was forgotten and the wreck remained undisturbed. Then, in 1989, 26 years after the crash, the plane was accidentally rediscovered in an aerial survey of the island. By this time, a Lancaster bomber in reasonable condition was rare and worth rescuing. The French authorities had the plane packaged and moved in parts back to France. Now a group of enthusiasts are going to have the plane restored. It has 4 Rolls-Royce Merlin engines, but the group will need to have only 3 of them rebuilt. Imagine their surprise and delight when they broke open the packing cases and found that the 4th engine was sweet as honey, still in perfect condition. A colony of bees had turned the engine into a hive, and it was totally preserved in beeswax. Lesson 67. Volcanoes. First listen and then answer the question. Why does Tazif risk his life like this? Harun Tazif, the Polish scientist, has spent his lifetime studying active volcanoes and deep caves in all parts of the world. In 1948, he went to Lake Kivu in the Congo to observe a new volcano which he later named Kituro. Tazif was able to set up his camp very close to the volcano while it was erupting violently. Though he managed to take a number of brilliant photographs, he could not stay near the volcano for very long. He noticed that a river of liquid rock was coming towards him. It threatened to surround him completely, but Tazif managed to escape just in time. He waited until the volcano became quiet, and he was able to return 2 days later. This time, he managed to climb into the mouth of Kituro so that he could take photographs and measure temperatures. Tazif has often risked his life in this way. He has been able to tell us more about active volcanoes than any man alive.